For nearly 2 decades, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban looked like the kind of couple Hollywood rarely produces: glamorous, successful, and deeply in love. From red carpets to heartfelt speeches, they painted a picture of a marriage that had beaten the odds. So when news broke that the pair had separated after 19 years together, the world was stunned. But here's the twist. While fans were blindsided, those closest to the couple say the breakup was anything but shocking. In fact, whispers of cracks in their marriage have been circulating for years, and to Keith's inner circle, the split felt almost inevitable. On September 29th, people confirmed what fans never thought they'd hear. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban had officially separated. The announcement came just 3 months after they celebrated their 19th wedding anniversary, a milestone that should have been a triumph. To the outside world, it felt sudden, almost unbelievable. But according to insiders, the truth had been quietly unfolding long before the headlines. The couple, it turns out, had been living separately for a while now. What the public saw as a shocking twist was, to those closest to them, simply the final step in a story already written. Looking back, the signs were there. The last time the couple was spotted together in public was back in June, during the FIFA Club World Cup in Nashville. Fans noticed how rare it had become to see them side by side. Unusual for two stars who once seemed inseparable. Even more telling, just days later, Kidman posted a black and white photo to Instagram celebrating their anniversary, cuddled up against her husband with the caption, "Happy anniversary, baby," at Keith Urban. To fans, it looked romantic. To friends, it felt like an echo of something already fading. And behind that photo-perfect moment, their lives were already moving in separate directions. Nicole had just wrapped filming Practical Magic 2 in London, while Keith was deep into his High and Alive world tour, hopping from city to city. The gap between them wasn't just physical, it was emotional. Insiders now admit it wasn't really a secret. Keith's close circle of friends and colleagues had sensed the inevitable for months, maybe even years. To them, the split wasn't shocking, it was expected. Long-distance living, busy careers, and increasingly different lifestyles made it clear that something had to give. While the public clung to the fairy tale image of Hollywood's golden couple, behind closed doors their love story had already begun to unravel. The whispers grew louder, and eventually, what once seemed unbreakable began to feel fragile. But while Keith's circle may have accepted the inevitable, Nicole Kidman was not ready to let go. According to sources, she fought to save the marriage, holding on to the family they had built together. Her sister Antonia became her anchor, standing by her side as the reality set in. And through it all, the Kidman family closed ranks, surrounding Nicole with unwavering support. For Nicole, the breakup wasn't just a chapter closing. It was a heartbreak she had hoped to avoid. The woman who once spoke about building an us with Keith, a bond nobody else could touch, was now facing the painful truth that even the strongest bonds can fracture. To truly understand the weight of this split, you have to go back to the beginning. Nicole and Keith first crossed paths in 2005 and married just a year later in a stunning ceremony in Sydney. For almost 2 decades, they seemed to defy the odds of Hollywood marriages. Together, they raised 2 daughters, Sunday Rose, now 17, and Faith Margaret, 14, all while juggling demanding careers. Nicole often described their secret to love as contributing to the us, a bond she believed was stronger than individual struggles. And Keith never shied away from praising his wife either. In 2024, as Nicole was honored at the AFI Life Achievement Awards, Keith described meeting her as like meeting a real-life princess. He admitted he was nervous to even call her at first, scribbling her number on a tiny piece of paper. Their love story had all the makings of a fairy tale, which is why its unraveling feels all the more tragic. What made this separation even more heartbreaking is the sharp contrast between what the world saw and what was really happening behind the scenes. Publicly, Nicole and Keith often appeared deeply affectionate, sharing anniversary posts, attending award shows, and speaking about one another with admiration. But privately, their relationship was facing cracks that no Instagram caption could fix. The glamorous red carpets, the speeches filled with love, the carefully curated snapshots, they painted a picture of stability. Yet those closest to the couple knew the smiles were often masking struggles that had been simmering for years. It was a classic case of Hollywood romance on the outside and silent distance on the inside. So why did everything come to a head in 2025? Insiders suggest that it wasn't one explosive moment, but a slow drift. Nicole had been spending long months in London filming Practical Magic 2, while Keith was pouring everything into his world tour. With their careers pulling them in opposite directions, the distance eventually became more than physical. It became emotional. Reports claim that the couple had been living separately for months, maybe even longer. Some speculate that it wasn't a lack of love, but simply two lives moving at different speeds. And in the end, even the strongest love can collapse under the weight of time apart. Now, the focus shifts to what comes after. Nicole is leaning heavily on her family, finding strength in the support of her sister and children. Keith, meanwhile, continues his tour, channeling his energy into music and the stage. For their daughters, the split means adjusting to a new version of family life, one built on co-parenting rather than marriage. And as Hollywood speculates about what went wrong, one question looms large. Will either Nicole or Keith break their silence and share the real story, or will this remain one of the most private separations in the industry? To the world, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban were proof that true love could survive the chaos of Hollywood. Their story had all the makings of a fairy tale, whirlwind romance, nearly 2 decades of marriage, and 2 beautiful daughters at the heart of it all. But behind the polished red carpet moments, cracks have been forming for years, quietly eroding the foundation of what seemed unshakable. Friends weren't surprised when the news broke. They'd seen the distance long before the rest of us. And that's the reality of even the most admired relationships. What looks perfect on the outside is often far more complicated behind closed doors. For Nicole, the heartbreak is real. For Keith, the separation feels like an inevitability. And for Hollywood, it's yet another reminder that love stories, no matter how magical, can come to an unexpected end. The question now isn't just why it happened, but whether the world will ever learn the full truth. Will Nicole or Keith one day reveal what really tore them apart? Or will the real story remain hidden forever? One thing is certain. For fans who believed in their love, this ending feels less like a breakup and more like the closing of a Hollywood chapter we all thought would last.